Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Paydirt Remote. My name is Mark Andrews, and today I'm joined by Alkane Resources Limited Managing Director, Nick Erner. Alkane is, of course, the company behind the Paydirt discovery in New South Wales. First off, can we ask you how progress is at Paydirt?
Yeah, really good. So we finished that drill program there, Mark, and now we're planning to kick off our next stage of drilling. So with 6 holes completed, pretty exciting results, indications of a stronger, higher grade core. So it really is about getting our drill on the ground and then start off quite a comprehensive program, both around Paydirt prospect and some of the other things in that 5K corridor that we've identified.
A potential tier 1 gold, copper, porphyry. What have you learned so far that's enlightening you with your exploration?
It shows the degree of depth of drilling that's required in this particular area of the Lachlan Fold. So, we've had some really excellent sniffs and indications at surface without ever drilling in these particular locations deep under. It was only when we did that we got this first result on KSD3.
Given your success, there's been a huge amount of interest from other companies filtering into the space. Is it as vibrant as you've seen the New South Wales exploration sector?
So certainly the interest in juniors in the Lachlan Fold is greater than I've seen in a really, really long time. We need to remember that New South Wales is always pretty vibrant, but a lot of that vibrancy has been driven by the much less, politically correct coal and coal seam gas exploration, of which there's quite a lot of expenditure in that in the region. But certainly metalliferous is hotting up in a way that we haven't seen since probably the early 2000s. If people drill lots and lots of technical successes, no, I think sentiment will say, okay, this isn't the world for juniors. But, I think New South Wales, particularly the Lachlan Fold, is an area that with drilling yields results, particularly with persistent drilling. So, yeah, I would see sentiment as being maintained, particularly if the gold price remains high in Australian dollar terms. Certainly we think, that our programs will be very interesting to people in the coming 12 months. So even if, the other smaller players don't get success, I think what we're intending to do should keep interest in the region alive a fair bit.
People familiar with Alkane will know that Dabo has been a key part of the company's portfolio in its history. With the divestment of that, what kind of opportunities does it open up for that project now?
As our gold side has been very successful and there's renewed interest in rare earths, we find ourselves with people investing in the company for two very different reasons, and there's a disagreement, philosophical disagreement around allocation of capital between those two investor groups, and that's part of why we're demerging. So what's a clean and clear Australian strategic materials bring? That brings the opportunity to attract investors who want to put money after that in the allocation portfolio in critical minerals, and also line up debt for that without any hang up or pricing influence of the gold side of the business. So I think people being able to buy into that opportunity, clean and clear, it will be very interesting for them. As well as that, clearly, of course, we have a management team where we devote time across both strategic areas at present. Having that focused has some advantage. It hasn't held us back, but as gold goes gangbusters and as we re-engage really heavily, particularly in this scrutiny of world supply chains for coronavirus, I think having an extra dedicated management and board in that area will certainly be beneficial to it.
Also within the portfolio is the Tingley gold project where you're producing. Has that flown under the radar in recent times?
To be honest, I think people first started noticing that Tingley was producing gold when they looked at the Paydirt discovery and thought, oh, who are these guys? Oh my God, they've got a gold mine. Wow, that's who'd have thought, So yes, certainly I think it has. And at the same time, we were releasing really, really exciting exploration results. I mean, if people go and look at some of the intercepts that we've released over the last nearly 2 years, we've got substantial grades and widths that people, when they talk about here in Australia, that in Western Australia, people get really excited about those sort of grades. And we release them quite a bit. for Tingley. So it has flown under the radar, but I think it's recognised now.
And just this week, we've seen a fair bit of gold M&A activity. Well, what are your thoughts in the space, just more broadly? And would you expect the trend to continue in the back half of this year?
It's fair that with the success of Silver Lake, Ramelius, others who have brought together diverse assets and then added to them successfully and run them well and run them with discipline, and then been rewarded by the market, that others would seek to do so. And it's also clear that just being a multi-mine producer, it carries less risk for investors. If something happens in one, then the whole company's cash flow doesn't come under risk. So yeah, I think we'll see more in the space across the rest of this year. We are seeing some of that stuff in the African holdings, which is not our space, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see more go on.
We look forward to having you back on Paydirt TV in another 6 months or so. What can you expect to be telling us about Alkane at that point in time?
The demerger should have occurred. So you'd have a separate Alkane and a separate Australian Strategic Materials to talk about and understand and say, okay, well, that went well. What happened? So there's that. We'll be well progressed on the applications for the extensions at Tingley, as well as releasing more drill results on that, because we continue to do infill drilling at 20 metre spacing across that whole San Antonio Roswell, just south of our existing mine. And as well as that, we'll have been on the ground at Paydirt. And with our focus there of that higher grade core and understanding its size and scale and what that might mean, as well as regionally, there should be quite a bit to talk about there.
Thanks very much for that, Nick, and congratulations on your success at Paydirt so far. And we look forward to seeing further progress in the coming months, and look forward to having you back on Paydirt TV in the future.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, and it'd be good to see more people out and about in the streets again.